Have you ever noticed that as people age, it's not their arms that give out first, it's their legs? Stairs become harder, standing up from a chair takes more effort, balance feels less stable, and most people assume this is just normal aging. But I'm Dr. William Lee, and I'm here to tell you the truth. Leg weakness is not an inevitable part of getting older. It's a sign that something deeper is happening inside your body. Let me explain what's really going on. Your leg muscles are the largest, most metabolically active muscles you have. They're deeply connected to blood sugar control, hormone balance, circulation, and even brain health. When they weaken, it's often because your body has quietly shifted into a state of poor muscle repair, chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, and nutrient deficiency long before pain or disease ever shows up. Think of your legs like the foundation of a house. You can repaint the walls, replace the windows, but if the foundation starts to crack, everything above it becomes unstable. In the same way, when your leg muscles lose strength, your entire body suffers. Energy drops, fat loss slows, balance declines, and the risk of fall skyrockets. What research shows is that muscle loss, especially in the legs, accelerates when your body isn't getting the right signals to build and protect muscle. And those signals don't come from exercise alone. They come from nutrition, very specific foods that communicate directly with your muscles, your hormones, your liver, and your nervous system. In this video, I'm going to show you something empowering. I'll walk you through 6 simple, natural foods that help restore strength to your legs by working at the root cause, improving muscle protein synthesis, reducing inflammation, supporting blood flow, and stabilizing blood sugar. These aren't exotic supplements or extreme diets. These are foods you can start using today. And as we go, I'll explain exactly why each one works so you're not just following advice, you're understanding your body. Because when you understand your body, you can change it. If this kind of clear, science-based guidance resonates with you, consider subscribing to Care on Health. I share practical strategies like this every day to help you age stronger, not weaker. Before we dive in, let me give you a roadmap of where we're headed. Here are the 6 science-backed insights we're going to cover, each tied to a specific food that directly strengthens your legs at a physiological level. First, why protein quality matters more than protein quantity, and how one simple, affordable food sends a powerful build and repair signal straight to your leg muscles. Second, chronic inflammation and muscle breakdown, and the food that research shows can calm inflammation while improving muscle strength and recovery, especially in the lower body. Third, blood flow and oxygen delivery to the legs, and how certain plant compounds improve circulation so your muscles can actually use the nutrients you give them. Fourth, minerals and nerve muscle communication. Why cramps, weakness, and shaky legs are often a mineral signaling problem, not just low strength. Fifth, blood sugar and insulin's role in muscle loss, and how one strategic food choice helps protect leg muscle while improving metabolic health at the same time. And sixth, hormones, aging, and muscle preservation. The food that quietly supports anabolic hormones while reducing the catabolic stress signals that accelerate leg weakness. Each of these foods works through a different mechanism, but together they form a powerful natural system for restoring leg strength from the inside out. Now let's start with the first and arguably the most misunderstood reason legs weaken first. Your body loses the ability to efficiently rebuild muscle tissue. Most people believe leg weakness comes from not exercising enough, but here's what's actually happening inside your body. Muscle doesn't weaken because you use it less. It weakens because your body stops getting the signal to rebuild it efficiently. Your leg muscles are constantly breaking down and rebuilding. This process is called muscle protein turnover. When you're younger, rebuilding happens easily. As you age, or when your metabolism is stressed, that rebuilding signal becomes quieter. And the legs feel it first because they're the largest muscles and the most demanding. Imagine your muscles as a construction site. Exercise creates the need. For repairs, that's like weather damage, but food supplies the bricks, the workers, and the blueprint. Without the right materials, no rebuilding happens, no matter how much damage you create through movement. What research shows is that leucine, a specific amino acid, acts like the foreman on that construction site. It switches on a pathway called mTOR, the master signal that tells your body it's time to build muscle. Without enough leucine, especially in older adults, your body simply doesn't respond. This is where the first food comes in, eggs. Eggs are one of the most biologically complete muscle-supporting foods available. They contain all essential amino acids in the right ratios, and they're particularly rich in leucine, the key trigger for muscle protein synthesis. And importantly, eggs are highly digestible, which means your body can actually use the protein, not just consume it. Here's something many people don't realize. Eating small amounts of protein spread thinly across the day often fails to stimulate muscle repair. You need a threshold dose, usually 25 to 35 grams of high-quality protein to flip that muscle-building switch. 2 to 3 eggs at a meal can meaningfully contribute to that threshold. There's also a hormonal benefit here. Eggs provide cholesterol, and cholesterol is the raw material for hormones like testosterone and DHEA, both of which support muscle maintenance in men and women. When people aggressively avoid eggs, they often unknowingly weaken their hormonal foundation. Here's what I recommend. Have eggs earlier in the day, breakfast or late morning. This aligns protein intake with natural cortisol rhythms and improves muscle response. Pair eggs with gentle movement afterward, even a 5 to 10 minute walk to amplify muscle signaling in the legs. If you're sensitive to eggs, focus on quality, pasture raised when possible, and notice how your body responds. Many people who thought eggs didn't suit them were actually reacting to poor quality sources. And let me emphasize this, you cannot supplement your way out of poor protein signaling. Powders and pills don't replace real food structure, digestion, and hormonal interaction. If this explanation is helping you connect the dots between food and strength, consider subscribing to Care on Health. I post content like this every day to help you rebuild health at the root level. Now, protein is only part of the story because even with perfect protein intake, muscle will still break down if inflammation stays high. And that brings us to the second food. Even with enough protein, many people still notice their legs getting weaker, more sore, or slower to recover. That's because muscle loss isn't just about building. It's also about how much muscle you're breaking down every day. And one of the biggest drivers of muscle breakdown is chronic low-grade inflammation. Here's what's really happening inside your body. As we age, or when blood sugar is unstable, your immune system stays slightly activated all the time. Not enough to make you feel sick, but enough to quietly interfere with muscle repair. This inflammatory state tells your body to conserve energy, not invest it in muscle tissue. The legs, again, are hit first because they demand the most blood flow, oxygen, and nutrients. Think of inflammation like rust on a metal beam. It doesn't break the beam overnight, but it weakens the structure slowly from the inside. Even with all the right building materials, if rust keeps spreading, the beam will eventually fail. What research shows is that omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, reduce inflammatory markers in muscle tissue and improve the body's ability to repair damage after stress or exercise. This isn't about masking pain. It's about changing the internal environment so muscle can thrive instead of survive. This brings us to the second food, fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, or sardines. Fatty fish are among the most powerful anti-inflammatory foods on the planet. They deliver omega-3 fats in their most bioavailable form, meaning your body can use them immediately. These fats don't just calm inflammation, they also improve mitochondrial function inside muscle cells, which directly affects strength and endurance. There's another layer here. Omega-3s improve insulin sensitivity in muscle tissue. That means muscles respond better to glucose and growth signals, which protects them from breakdown. They also support nerve health, which improves coordination and reduces the risk of falls. Here's what I recommend. Include fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week, wild caught when possible. If fresh fish isn't accessible, high-quality canned sardines or mackerel work just as well. Pair them with antioxidant-rich vegetables to enhance absorption and amplify the anti-inflammatory effect. And if you don't eat fish, consider algae-based omega-3 supplements. But whole food sources are always superior because they provide nutrients that work together synergistically. One important note, many people take fish oil capsules and assume they're covered, but oxidized or low-quality fish oil can actually increase inflammation. Whole food sources are safer, more effective, and better absorbed. Now, even with great protein and low inflammation, your muscles still need one more thing to function properly: blood flow. And that's where the third food comes in. You can eat all the protein and omega-3s in the world, but if oxygen and nutrients aren't reaching your leg muscles efficiently, they'll still feel weak, tired, and prone to cramping. This is especially true as we age because circulation naturally declines. Here's what's really happening inside your body. Blood vessels become stiffer, less flexible, and less responsive to signals that tell them to open up and deliver nutrients. This means your muscles are working harder but receiving less support. It's like trying to water a garden with a kinked hose. The water is there, but it's not getting where it needs to go. What research shows is that certain plant compounds, especially nitrates, improve something called endothelial function. That's the inner lining of your blood vessels. When this lining works well, blood flow improves, oxygen delivery increases, and muscles perform better with less effort. This brings us to the third food, leafy greens like spinach, arugula, and kale, along with beetroot. These foods are rich in dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes and widens blood vessels. This doesn't just help during exercise, it improves baseline circulation throughout the day, which means better nutrient delivery, better waste removal, and better muscle function. Beetroot in particular has been shown to improve exercise performance and reduce muscle fatigue in older adults. It works by making oxygen use more efficient inside the muscle cell. You get more output with less stress. There's also a mineral component here. Leafy greens provide magnesium, potassium, and calcium, all of which support muscle contraction and nerve signaling. Without these, even strong muscles can't contract properly. Here's what I recommend. Include a serving of leafy greens daily, either raw in salads or lightly cooked. Add beetroot once or twice per week, either roasted, juiced, or in smoothies. If you're active, having beetroot or greens a few hours before movement can noticeably improve stamina and reduce leg fatigue. And don't overcook them. Heat destroys nitrates, so steaming or light sautéing is best. One more thing, if you're on blood pressure medication, talk to your doctor before dramatically increasing nitrate-rich foods, as they can enhance the effect of your medication. Now, even with good protein, low inflammation, and strong circulation, your muscles still need to communicate properly with your nervous system, and that requires minerals. That's where the fourth food comes in. Many people experience leg cramps, twitching, or a feeling of instability, especially at night or after exercise. They assume it's just dehydration or lack of stretching, but the real issue is often deeper. It's a breakdown in nerve-muscle communication. Here's what's really happening inside your body. Muscles don't move on their own. They respond to electrical signals from your nervous system, and those signals depend on minerals, especially magnesium, potassium, and calcium. When these minerals are out of balance, the signals get scrambled. Muscles either contract too hard, causing cramps, or don't contract efficiently, causing weakness. Think of it like a phone with a weak signal. The message is being sent, but it's not getting through clearly. The harder you try to use the phone, the more frustrated you get. In the same way, when mineral signaling is off, your muscles struggle to perform even when they're technically strong. What research shows is that magnesium deficiency is extremely common, especially in older adults, and it directly impacts muscle function, sleep quality, and even bone health. Potassium and calcium work together to regulate contraction and relaxation. Without proper balance, muscles stay in a semi-tense state, which accelerates fatigue and breakdown. This brings us to the fourth food, nuts and seeds, particularly almonds, pumpkin seeds, and chia seeds. These foods are dense sources of magnesium, along with healthy fats that support nerve health and hormonal signaling. Almonds provide magnesium and calcium. Chia seeds add potassium along with omega-3 fats, creating a unique blend of nerve and muscle support. There's also a metabolic layer here. Magnesium improves insulin sensitivity inside muscle cells. That means muscles can access glucose more efficiently for energy, rather than staying in a semi-starved state that accelerates fatigue and breakdown. Here's what I recommend. Include a small daily portion, about a handful, of nuts or seeds. Timing matters. Having them in the evening can improve overnight muscle recovery and reduce nighttime leg cramps. If digestion is an issue, soaking seeds or lightly toasting nuts can make them easier to tolerate. One important note, many people think they're getting enough minerals because they eat healthy, but modern soils are depleted, and chronic stress increases mineral loss. That's why consistency matters more than quantity. Now, even with good protein, low inflammation, strong circulation, and proper mineral signaling, muscles can still shrink if blood sugar and insulin are working against you, and this next food directly addresses that deeper metabolic issue. Even when people eat well and stay active, leg strength can quietly decline if blood sugar and insulin are constantly spiking. This is one of the most overlooked root causes of muscle loss. Here's what's really happening inside your body. Muscle tissue is one of the primary places where glucose is stored and used, but when insulin levels stay chronically high from frequent snacking, refined carbs, or eating late into the night, muscle cells become resistant to insulin. When that happens, muscles stop responding to growth signals and instead shift toward breakdown. Insulin is like a key that opens the door to the muscle cell. If that key is used all day, every day, the lock gets worn out. Eventually, the door doesn't open properly, and the muscle is left underfueled even though plenty of food is coming in. What research shows is that insulin resistance accelerates sarcopenia, especially in the legs. The thighs and glutes are large glucose handling muscles. When they become insulin resistant, your body starts treating muscle as expendable tissue. Strength drops, endurance fades, and fat storage increases all at the same time. This brings us to the fifth food, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are often misunderstood. They're not just carbs. They're slow-digesting, fiber-rich glucose sources that replenish muscle glycogen without spiking insulin aggressively. They also provide potassium, which supports muscle contraction, and beta-carotene, which reduces oxidative stress inside muscle cells. Unlike refined grains or sugars, sweet potatoes improve insulin sensitivity when eaten in the right context. They help muscles accept and store glucose efficiently, which protects muscle tissue instead of breaking it down. Here's what I recommend. Have sweet potatoes with your most active meal of the day, usually lunch or early dinner. Pair them with protein and healthy fats to slow digestion further. A moderate portion is enough. This is about signaling, not overeating. And if fat loss is a goal, avoid eating them late at night when insulin sensitivity naturally drops. This is also where timing matters more than perfection. When muscles are used during the day, they act like sponges for glucose. Feed them when they're most receptive, and you strengthen them instead of stressing them. If this kind of metabolic root cause explanation is helping you rethink food choices, consider subscribing to Care on Health. I share content like this every day to help you work with your physiology instead of against it. Now, there's one final piece we haven't addressed yet, and it's critical for long-term leg strength. Hormones and muscle preservation. That's where the sixth food comes in. The final reason legs weaken first has less to do with age itself and more to do with hormonal signaling under chronic stress. Here's what's really happening inside your body. Muscle is either in a building state, called anabolic, or a breakdown state, called catabolic. Hormones decide which direction you go. When stress hormones like cortisol stay elevated and supportive hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormone decline, your body starts conserving energy by breaking down muscle. And once again, the legs are sacrificed first because they require the most energy to maintain. Imagine your body as a company in a financial downturn. It doesn't fire the receptionist first. It cuts the most expensive departments. In the body, large leg muscles are expensive. If hormones signal stress, they're the first to go. What research shows is that adequate dietary fat and micronutrients are essential for maintaining anabolic hormone signaling in both men and women. Very low-fat diets, chronic undereating, and fear of calories quietly push your body into muscle loss over time. This brings us to the sixth food, full-fat fermented dairy, such as Greek yogurt or kefir. These foods do several things at once. First, they provide highly bioavailable protein that's easy to digest. Second, they contain calcium, which is essential for muscle contraction and bone muscle integrity. Third, and most importantly, the natural fats support hormone production, while fermentation improves gut health. Why does the gut matter for leg strength? Because inflammation, hormone metabolism, and nutrient absorption all begin there. A compromised gut increases cortisol and reduces anabolic signaling. Fermented dairy helps restore balance by supporting beneficial bacteria that regulate inflammation and hormone clearance. There's also strong evidence that calcium and dairy proteins reduce muscle loss during aging, particularly in the lower body. This isn't about drinking milk all day. It's about using targeted, whole food nutrition intelligently. Here's what I recommend. Include 1 serving of full-fat fermented dairy daily. I